Okay, so here is my filthy AGA. We do a lot of cooking on this grill. We use it for pancakes and eggs and everything else. So that one's very dirty. This one, not too bad. I boiled a pot with baking soda and water the other day because I had left that one in the slow cook oven to do some bone broth and it didn't work out so well. Anyway, let's not go down that road. So there's some splatters of baking soda and water that spilled over the pot. And my roasting and baking ovens are very rusty from when we had the oven, we had the stove off last year to do our kitchen renovation. So I want to clean those out. It doesn't hurt the oven at all, just that when I put my pans on that bottom, when I pull the pan out, it has rust transfer onto it. And then if I put it on top of my burners, I have my cloth covers on top and then it just transfers the rust to it. I gotta always clean it up. So I'm going to give those a good scrape out. Of course, this one's used for frying bacon and everything else, so that door is very filthy. Whereas, you know, it should look a little bit more like this one, which is more for, you know, cakes and other things. So that that needs to be scrubbed down. And then in my slow cook oven, again, the bottom's just got that rust on it. A little bit of splatter from something that was cooking back there. And actually, I use this one to often store my pans. This is my warming oven. And this is what I mean, like the cast iron will transfer the rust from the ovens onto the pan. Then if I go and put it on top of my stove, then I make my little cloth covers, my chef's pads, all rusty. And if you can see in there, there's a circle of rust. And that's because we put our dehydrator in there with onions. And there wasn't enough air transfer. I should have had it propped up on something. And where the onions were sitting, there's a lot of moisture that sat there and made a big circle of rust. So I want to give that a good scrub. And I'll take out my shelf and, of course, everything in there. And give that one a really good cleaning, too. But see how the doors here, first of all, they're not as insulated. They don't, the covers on them don't, I guess, pop out, you could say. You know, this here is pretty thin on that side. And then on this side, you know, it comes out quite a bit. It's actually quite cool because I turn this oven down to its absolute lowest setting without actually turning it off. So probably, I don't know if you can see it all, but probably just basically the pilot light on now. I have it on the lowest part it can go before, and then I'm going to crank it back up to the green when I'm done. And as you can see, we got dust and cat hair and all that stuff, so it's kind of gross in there. So it gives it a good vacuum. I have my my handy vacuum here, and I have a wire brush. 2 wire brushes, actually. My husband got me 2. And those are for the ovens. I give them a really good scrape out. This one actually has a scraper on it. That's handy. I got some gloves to work in case it is a bit warm inside. And when I went to the AGA shop in England last year, I did pick up a couple of the cleaners. This one is for your chrome and the stainless steel. And then this one's for the enamel. So this I'm going to use on the top. Now I had, I often am bad at this. I'll take a pan and move it from here to here and just kind of scrape it over here. Or I got a couple of pans here, so one is on this. And I've transferred, like I've taken off the paint here, basically. I don't know if I unscrew this and take this and put some heat-resistant black paint on, if that could work. I'm going to look into that because I might do that too to make it look really, really good. But I've done this. And yesterday my husband put the pop filler faucet in. Now it's not all together yet and there's no water in it. But there's debris from going through the wall there. So I'm going to give that a good vacuuming. And I'm going to use the scraper, new in the box, not even know the box yet. I got that from AGA as well, to do the top, especially this one. This one's really dirty. This is not really, probably just a wire brush. Probably that's the circle from the baking soda pot yesterday. And it's I can touch it. It's not that hot right now. So it is turned down quite a bit. This one, oh yeah, this one's quite a bit lower. I wouldn't leave my hand there. This one actually feels a lot like how this feels normally. And I just took the covers off, so they'll probably cool down a bit more now that they're up. But yeah, giving those all a good scouring here. Okay, so this is after me scraping them out and vacuuming. What's funny is there's been some dry bits of food in there that I get to vacuum up. Some kale I baked in there to make chips the other day. Kind of crushed up there in the corner. And this one. And these are actually just stainless steel inside, not cast iron. Not much I could do with this here right now. Not with that brush. This is the best I could get that circle. I can see what I can do with the other stuff. And I did vacuum out all the control panel here. So it's cat hair free now. The cats love staying in front of here, so that gathers a lot of dust. I did wear gloves for the first part, and then I end up saying that's no good. Then I hit knuckles a couple times there to on the sides. I survived. So we'll see what we can do the rest now. So as this is a burner we mostly cook on, I lifted up the ring. That's the ring upside down. And I just used a little metal end. Actually, it's not that hot. And I used that little metal scraper to go around the edge here. And then just kind of vacuum as I went without trying to suck up the insulation. But you see eggs or pancakes get on the insulation there. I was trying to pick it apart. How do you take out the insulation? How do you take out the eggs and pancake mixture without taking the insulation? So it's a bit challenging, but I think I didn't do too bad there. And then I could give this one a really good scrubbing too and put that back. I bought this stuff at Costco years ago, and I wet my sponge and I dipped it in the paste and I put it on here. And I just started at the top of this, and I haven't really used this stuff much, but I had used it before for the wood stove glass. And I know it did a pretty excellent job there, so I thought I'd try it on the door here. Wow. Then I'll just rinse out my sponge and add some more, I think, because this is working really super duper well. I got the whole door to do. We'll see how it looks when I'm done. I just focused on this oven. So I'm gonna get out of the way here. I actually used that same scouring stuff and did just the bottom. Kind of get in there as far as I could with my wet sponge and scrubbed as much of that rust off as possible. There's actually a screw. I didn't know until now, because I normally don't look into the oven, but I had a pan one day. I couldn't get it in. It was like bumping against something. I didn't know what it was. There was actually a screw there. So I think I'm going to tighten that a little bit. And then I'm going to use lard to coat the inside of it. Now, normally when you're cooking, you know, everything grease spatters and everything, and it gives that seasoned coat to the cast iron. But yeah, I want to just kind of get a jump start on that, and especially since I washed it. And see how clean I got this. I even used my scraper. I gotta guess wipe one more time because there's still some stuff there. But I even used my little razor blade scraper to get as much of that crud off the corners as I could, and up and around the top and down the other side. Same as the door. I'm not too fussy about how it looks, just that it's sort of clean. I see I need to wipe it one more time with a clean cloth, and that'll be done. So I'm gonna use my paper towel and my lard and do the inside. I put the lard in a small bowl to make it a little more manageable. Plus, when I dip the paper towel into it, I don't want to contaminate the whole brick, because I don't think I'm gonna need the whole brick. Now, I could use any oil, really. I was gonna use coconut oil because that's what I use to season my cast iron pans. My dealer mentioned using olive oil in a spray bottle, but I find olive oil just has such a low boiling point, and this is a very hot oven. And lard is what we also use to season cast iron pans, so I thought that would probably be the best one to use here. And just basically season. I'm really just probably going to do the floor. We'll see how carried away I get in all of it, because I'm on a stool now. I'll have to get on my knees to reach the back wall or the sides of the roof. So we'll see how far I get. I just really want it at the bottom for when I put pans in and out, that they don't transfer that rust onto every surface that the pan touches. Okay, so here it is after it's been oiled. I really just oiled the bottom. You can see little bits of paper towel there. I use paper towel. I did some of the sides, as you can see. Some are done, some are not. I think if the oil were runnier, I could just use one of those silicone pastry brushes. I'm just gonna take a kind of like a dry cloth and try to wipe out the little bits of paper towel. But again, they will just burn off when the oven starts up anyway, so no big deal. You can kind of see how far I got down that side too. Wow, what a difference the oil made, eh? I didn't do the back at all. I didn't do the top. So again, my concern was the bottom when I'm sliding stuff in and out. So yeah, it looks way better. Now I'm going to oil this one. It's actually, the baking oven really isn't that dirty. I'm just gonna oil the bottom of that one. And I mean, the door is really clean. I'm gonna wipe around the hinges and stuff. You can take these doors off. I just didn't bother because I don't have a good place to put them right now. So I'm just gonna give them a good wipe down and just close them up, and those will be done. In the front, I wiped it all down with hot soapy water. As you can see, hot soapy water leaves streaks, so I'm going to use some nice clean water and wipe it all down. And then I'm going to work on the top. But yeah, this oven came out pretty good. considering what it was, I think it came out pretty good. Hard to get the shadow out of the way, but yeah, it's all seasoned. Anyway, the door is amazing looking, considering what it was. This is not a new AGA to me. This is an AGA from the 90s. I don't remember if that door was as spotless, literally, as the baking oven door down below, or if it had looked like that when I got it. So there's only so much effort I want to put into that, because, you know, this is my workhorse, and it doesn't have to be a beauty, but it's nice that this came out really good. And I did the bottom one, obviously, as well. And this cast iron grate does come out. It does lift up. I just, again, I don't have a good place to put it when I take it out, so I just left it there and I worked with it there. I did put the lard on that, and if you remember the streaky stuff that was coming down, I got most of that off. Again, I wasn't gonna put a lot of effort to it, but there was some stuff in the back, and I think, because now that I see, it's not completely closed. And one time my husband spilled something over top of the warming plate and it dripped into the warming plate. He took the warming plate apart, and I bet it dripped into there, and that's what that was down the side. And then the warming oven, I got that rusty ring pretty much off. You can almost barely faintly see where there was a circle. I just used that Mother's Choice stuff I showed you. I didn't really do much with the sides, to be honest. I was trying to get the ring off the bottom, and can you believe it still smells like onions in here after all this time. But that's what the inside of the warming oven looks like. It has, that's where the heat comes from, the boiler, which is in the middle of the stove. And of course it transfers up here, and that transfers up, obviously, then to the top. And of course there's also the vent on the inside here that obviously stuff can come through, because we just clean all that off. So I vacuumed all the top, any loose debris, especially from where we put the pot filler faucet in. I just put the flange on properly now. My husband's working behind it, putting the plumbing part of it in so we can actually have water to it. But I wanted it here. You know, I don't want it over top of any of these really hot surfaces, because I gotta lean over. And, you know, an AGA's pretty deep, and in my reach, you know, I can just kind of get it and pull it out. And then I can just set my pot here on the warming plate, give it a good fill up, or a kettle or whatever, and then just tuck it back in, out of the way. I dusted all this with my vacuum, because this gets pretty dusty up here, but we did have some chicks in the house that are now outside, so I know they contribute to our dust problem. But, oh, I don't think I did the top of that kettle now I'm looking at that. But I just vacuumed that before I kind of did this, because I didn't want the dust falling on it if I did it after. But now it's time to get to this, and I gotta put this burner back together and scour that and this. And this one doesn't need a lot of work at the top, just to the bottom. This one's still hotish. I may put my hand on it, but I wouldn't leave it there. But see how the soap, this is why you can't do soapy water when it's hot. It's way worse than that. So I'm gonna take my clean water, clear it all off, but then I'm also gonna use my AGA cleaning stuff for the top. I don't know if I'll do it on the blue enamel, just the black enamel. The blue one, it will be fine if I just wipe up with the clean water cloth, and then take my dry cloth to it and kind of buff it, and that'll be fine. So yeah, it's looking pretty good right now. And yeah, we're getting her done. Sometimes I find in video, it's hard to tell that my AGA's actually blue. But here it is, all shined up, all the blue enamel. It's all looking good, and I got, you know, like the hinges, got all the dust off, handles and whatnot. Still feel like there's some cat hair floating around here, but it's all shiny. Now, let's get to that top. Okay, I'm gonna do the enamel. Between here and here has got some grease and crud on it. So I'm gonna use this enamel cleaner here with my razor blade. I've done that as much as I want to. I'm taking a note from Mary Kondo. If it doesn't bring me joy, I'm not gonna deal with it. I'm quite happy with how it looks. That one looks pretty amazing too. I've scrubbed the burners. I'm gonna oil them after, but I'm gonna clean this in between them first. And I also, it gets really cruddy here and here. So I still feel like razor blade could be useful there. So those are my kind of trouble spots between the two burners and just at each of the covers. As you see, I took off the plate here and I washed that separately because it's got a lot of grooves and stuff where dust gets in. And even what's the chimney cap that's there, I see there's some dust still left on that. And then I'm gonna polish up all the black and it'll be ready to go. So I use the enamel cleaner, but to be honest, I felt it left it very scratched. I'm pretty sure it wasn't the scratch before. And almost like the black is coming off. I'm not sure I'd use this again. So, I don't know, not too impressed with that at all. Of course, every little imperfection is highlighted now with the lights shining on it. But yeah, not super impressed with that. As an experiment, I'm going to use that enamel cleaner on the flue cap here because there is like something spit and boiled and whatever here, and then there's something here. And as you can see, it's not really scratched. There's a few whirl marks in it, but there's gunk on it. So I want to get it off. Let's try that out. Now, I'd used the green end of my sponge before, like I did on the ovens, but maybe I'd also spread it with my finger first like this, and then I took the green sponge to it. But maybe that was just too hard. I don't know. It's meant to be used when it's hot too, and nothing here is hot right now. I mean, the boiling plate is it dries if you wipe it, that's about it. And I don't melt my cloth when I wipe it, so no, it's not that hot. Okay, let's take my microfiber cloth and I'll just gently kind of, I mean, it did get it clean. I gotta say, it worked that way, but so clean it takes the black enamel off is a bit of a problem. Okay, doesn't feel as cruddy. I'm just gently, I got one finger, I'm not even pushing that hard, as you can see, and just lightly buffing it in there. Okay, I'm gonna rinse my cloth out and then I'm gonna see how it looks. Okay, I just rinsed it with my cleanish wet cloth after I wrung it out. And now I'm drying it with this one. See, it still looks dirty here. It still looks dirty here, although that feels smooth. This doesn't. Feels like I could have scrubbed a lot harder on that one. I don't see any extra scratches though, so I guess that's a good thing. I'm gonna try a little bit more on this with the little sponge and we'll see how that goes. Okay, I won't press very hard. Just enough to get off whatever that is. And I'll do this little spot here to see if that improves at all. Still kind of see where it was wet. Yeah, okay, let's see. Wipe that off. I got my clean cloth and clear it off. Nearly all off. I missed a little bit right here at the end, but this part is smooth. And I don't think there's any scratching. No, I didn't do here. This was already like that. And this did not, like I said, it doesn't feel raised. It feels like it's marred the enamel. Same as, actually this does feel raised. I don't know what this is. But anyway, I think my husband says maybe those green sponges are scratchy. He says he's got a blue one that's not scratchy. So I might get another try at one time. We'll see. I mean, I didn't buy the stove because it was in pristine condition. As I said before, I took the paint right off that myself by dragging pots across. So I'm going to oil these burners, close them, put the cap back on for the flue, and give the chrome a good shining and crank up the heat. Okay, that's how they look oiled up. Especially this one is so clean. It's so smooth. Like that one had all this cooked on food because I always use Bako Glide, but my Bako Glide, my old piece had holes in it. So sometimes batter would go through or an egg would go through. So that got really super clean. This one wasn't really dirty, just some spots from spittle from a boiling pot or something. But interesting how they look different. Like the different colors. This one's still warm, so the oil kind of sucked up quicker, but I took a clean paper towel and just wiped off any excess oil. You know, that's what you're supposed to do when you do cast iron pans, so I did the same thing. So I'm gonna close them up now with soapy water before. See what happens when you just do soapy water with the chrome. So I'm gonna use that chrome polish stuff and make it all look shiny. This set right here, like on the flue cap, it had stuff stuck to it. So I put that enamel polish on it. I used the blue sponge that my husband said was non-scratchy, and that seemed to work. I wiped it with clean water there, or cleanish, and then dried it with my cloth, and it seems to be much better. With a wet cloth, but don't dry it. Put a little bit of this on. First time out of its container, I had to rip the little foil off it. And then use a wet sponge. I'm going to use a spongy side to rub it in. And then you take a damp cloth. I'll do around the edges here too. Take a damp cloth and get it off. Now, of course, my oven's not that hot. This is meant to be used with a hot oven, so it wouldn't smear and all that stuff. It should work even better with a cold oven, I'm thinking, but we'll see.
What is that?
I'm cleaning the stove.
What are you using on stove?
The stove cleaner. This cleaner that came with the stove. Well, cleaner made for the stove. How's that? Didn't come with my stove. Mommy had to go all the way to England to pick this up. There's a cleanish cloth. This cloth is not that clean right now, but let's pretend it is. See if that works. And I'll use my dry one to buff it up. I don't know if it was clean enough. Okay. I feel a bit of a haze on it still. I wonder if my cloth was clean enough. It had been in that dirty water. And the water shut off to the house now, so we can put my pot filler faucet together. So I don't know if I can get it cleaner right now, but pretty shiny though. Make sure I get around all the edges well here. Oh yeah, I forgot there actually was something on here. I should try that again and wipe that a little bit harder, because I actually forgot there was something that's got on this lid. Something my husband was cooking splattered on here. Let's try that again. Put some effort and energy in this side here. I'm gonna just rinse my sponge to get the water as clean as possible, and then I'll buff it. Still stuff there. I don't want to scrub too hard. Definitely don't want to scratch it. Well, we'll live with that, I guess, for now, until I think of something better. I actually don't know if I can just scrape off my fingernail. Or, oh yeah, actually, if I just rub harder with the cloth, I can get it off. That works too. It's a microfiber cloth. I'm definitely not going to scratch. Yep, I'm getting it off. Okay, won't worry too much about that then. I know that comes off. So, it's almost ready. Okay, my husband's going to turn the water on, and he says this is in the off position, and we're hoping there's no leak in the wall behind it. But just because I'm not sure this is actually the off position, I'm standing by with the kettle and a cloth. And my kettle handle's kind of in the way there, I see. Does that look like it's lined up to you? Something like that. And a cloth. My stove is looking pretty good right now. I don't need to have a flood here. Okay, so air in the hose. Wait, I gotta turn the other one on too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, pressurized. No leak at the base. Woohoo! We have water in the kitchen! Yay! We have water in our kitchen. Oh, it works really well.
Good.
I better stop because the kettle's getting kind of full there.
No, I don't have it on full pressure, so.
Okay, well, no, that's good. There's no water, dripping anywhere.
Let me check the other side.
Yeah, check the other side. Wow, this is exciting. We don't have our sink yet, so this is putting the water for the ice maker to work for the fridge was the first step to getting water in our kitchen. This is the second. At least this way, I could even put the dish pan here and just have water to wash my hands when cooking. Makes life easier.
Full blast.
Okay, put on full blast. Crank that puppy up. We'll make sure nothing explodes here. Does my stove look pretty good to you?
Only the faucet does.
Only the faucet does.
Because look at it. It looks so pretty cool.
So what? Is that an English word? Are you speaking a different language now? Okay, so there is my stove, all polished up. The blue looks really amazing. I like how clean it looks. And, you know, the chrome's looking pretty good. Nice and shiny. Faucet's working great. Is that my birthday present?
Sure.
Okay. The spice rack was my Mother's Day present. May, now it's September. Okay, sure. Pot rack, I don't know what that was. That was just, actually the pot rack was already there. I just finally got hooks from Amazon to put up so that we can actually hang all the pots. I had all the pots in a nice pot rack I have. But then when we unpacked everything, I had all this cast iron too. And I'm like, oh, what's going to hang here? I don't really want cast iron hanging over my stove. It's really risky, you know? So, and I had all these copper molds, which are beautiful. They look so orange in the camera, but they're just, you know, this really nice copper color in real life. Anyway, I think it looks pretty amazing. And of course we got some lights there. It's interesting, what do you call that word? Ambiance. Interesting ambiance when you're cooking with the light shining through all that metal. Oh, it's all so shiny. There we go. Some mood lighting. Got my big pasta pot up there and all my AGA cookware plus some of our old Lagostina and Martha Stewart stuff. So, yep. All shined up. Now I can put my covers back on my burners and hang up my towels and oven mitts. All set. I'm just cranking her up now. I already heard the flame go whoosh. You pull it and then it goes back a little bit. This part scares me because this one is the one of the most expensive things to fix. There's the lights. Well, lights, that's a flame. So now it's going to heat up. I don't think it was off or cold long enough to worry about moisture coming out of the cast iron. Because when you first turn it on, like when I had it off for 10 months, I had to worry about moisture, especially dripping down from here. And if it goes on and kind of bakes on, then it will mar the enamel. But I was there with a cloth. I caught it every drip that came out. Actually, what mostly dripped was here, which may be why that actually is one that's permanent. I may have missed it. I feel a lot of the drips came from the flue because this gets pretty hot when it's on. And it's really cold right now. Like the whole thing is cold. Yeah, it's completely chilled. So it's gonna be a few hours and we'll be able to use it again. It's 5 o'clock. I might be able to make some fried egg sandwiches on it for dinner. We'll see. But we'll see how it turns out. Now the gas is on. Been a little while before I can boil the water in that kettle, but it's all good. So this is one reason why I want to clean up my ovens and get the rust off, because I had these completely cleaned after, you know, they had rust on them before. But every time I put pans in the oven, of course, I brush up against the bottom. So what happened was, of course, that these got rust all over them. And it does come off with spray and wash. Pretty good, actually. Just around the edge, I think maybe I actually have burned some of this. So that stayed a bit dark in spots. But I really, really love these ones. They're my favorite. You put a hand in each one. This part goes across so that if you have a pan in front of you, something splashed, the pan is actually against this. Or, you know, whatever. You don't get it, touch your abdominal area with a really hot pan because this is here to protect you. I really love these ones.
Don't forget to hit the like button.